What the fuck? Hi people, and hello my Chili Con Carnage crew, it's Chili here from Live Listen Race, and on this 5-minute review episode, we're going to go over the Red Hot Chili Peppers' newest album, Return of the Dream Canteen. I wasn't really following the news particularly regarding Red Hot Chili Peppers around the time that the dumpster fire that was Unlimited Love was released. So I wasn't aware that the band had recorded about 50 songs during this session, and that the band felt all of these songs were very strong tracks. So if you do the maths for this album and Unlimited Love, that would still leave 16 more unreleased songs, so there is a chance we might get a third album soon, maybe next year. Anyway, back to the point of not following news, I was genuinely surprised to see that the band had put out a whole new album, especially so soon after their last one. I was cautiously optimistic when I pressed play. I had heard their songs Eddie and Tip of My Tongue, and I loved them both more and more over time. It felt like a return to roots within the sound, with John Frusciante's presence being more prominent here, although I was concerned at the 17-track and nearly 80-minute runtime that I would suffer from the same listener fatigue I did on Unlimited Love. No, I would not. Where Unlimited Love fails in feeling like a band that is unsure of itself while trying to slightly expand and experiment its sound, the Return of the Dream Canteen succeeds in showing the band returning to their old funky rock sound with confidence, especially in each other. With this release, the Red Hot Chili Peppers have successfully had 2 albums reach number 1 in the same year. The last time this happened was in 2005 when System of a Down released Hypnotize and Mesmerize. So let's talk about this album, and I was impressed by the change in style compared to several previous releases even from the band. It was a much more funkier feel as Flea pushes his 4-string instruments to its limits here. Seriously, some of the most aggressively funky and creative bass lines I've heard since maybe Days of Mother's Milk or Blood Sugar Sex Magic. You can really hear it on tracks like Bella, Fake as F***, and the lead single Tip of My Tongue. I know Flea is highly influenced by George Clinton, but I feel like the song Fake as F*** is taking its cues from his hero in particular here. Also, the breakdown and John's nastily dirty guitar is amazing on that track. One of the best things about this album is the return, of course, of John Frusciante's guitar work as mentioned before, and on songs like Carry Me, you can hear that smooth string talker play one of the most beautiful riffs that at first transcends us before returning to normality. I love how John just stops and let Flea take over control before he returns for the solo. It's graceful and wonderful piece. Other great songs where John just lets loose can be found on the song Copperbelly, which takes a peaceful song and then the solo introduces just chaos. Other great tracks are Shoot Me, A Smile, and Bella. We have to also talk about the second single, Eddie. What a fucking fantastic piece. This song is a tribute to Eddie Van Halen, who passed during the recording of this album, and it points out an unfortunate ability that the band can do, which is to turn their grief outward into creative outlets on their music. We have seen it on Brendan's Death Song, we have seen it on Under the Bridge, and we have it again here. When I heard this song, I knew that the band were back and in the right place. Flea manages to keep a low profile, and John launches into some of his finest guitar work I've heard out of him in the last 20 years here. Tremendous effort by the band, and they just nail it on this song. It's perhaps interesting to note also some experimental songs like La 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 La, In the Snow, and My Cigarette, which is the most experimental song by far that I've heard out of this band. It's no style I've ever heard Red Hot Chili Peppers do with its smooth bass line over a synth drum and keyboard section. Very electronica. When you are one of the biggest bands in the world, then you have probably nothing left to lose. So I'm impressed by this effort here, and it's also a very fresh take on this song. Upon first playthrough, I was dumbstruck that this is the band, but different in a good way. A slightly shifted sound, trying out some new things, Honestly, my first thought was this album shares more in common with the divisive album One Hot Minute than any of their other previous works, particularly with its musical sound and style. The other thing I have wrestled with is I found it a very solid album despite the songs not exactly standing out per se. There were only 2 singles before this album dropped, and while I enjoyed them, they still aren't exactly powerfully memorable to previous singles, for example like Dark Necessities, Danny California, By the Way, or maybe even Black Summer. Don't get me wrong, Eddie is a great song, but I don't know if it should have been a single. I do think the choice for only 2 singles pre the release was the right choice though. Unlimited Love had 4, and by the time that came out, it kind of wore out its welcome. Overall, I find this to be a super impressive album by the band, and I'll rate it at 7.5 million chilies on the Spacey scale, with my favourite tracks being Eddie, Fake as Fuck, and Carry Me Home. I find myself enjoying this album more and more with each playthrough, despite not really remembering many of the tracks' names. This whole album is just incredible and has given me a high I did not think I would get from this band again. To be honest, I quietly wrote them off after Unlimited Love, but with this release I say kudos Red Hot Chili Peppers, I am ever proud to be named after you guys. Thank you for watching this episode of 5 Minute Reviews. Don't forget to leave a like and sub to this small channel, every subscriber helps. Have a great day and stay spicy. Thank you for tuning in to this episode of Live Listen Erased. And if you have enjoyed this episode, make sure you share it with all your friends. Don't forget to subscribe to our Chili Con Carnage crew so you can get notified for all the future videos that we put out, as we put out videos every Friday. Also, we are on Discord, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter over at Live Listen Erased, so make sure to tune in over there. And don't forget to like this video so that our manager can stay very happy.